All right, volume and surface area, day 2. Today we're talking about how to find the volume and surface area of pyramids and cones. I want you to think about volume as how much water something will hold, and I want you to think about surface area as how much wrapping paper it takes to cover a surface. So we start with the fact that a pyramid is a three-dimensional object with one polygon, and that means it can be many things, a square, a triangle, the most common, for a base, and triangular, can't spell triangular sides that meet at the top. Another word for a top is the apex. So we're fortunate enough to have formulas for these. It makes it easier. Volume is 1/3 the area of the base times the vertical height. Again, A equals the area of the base. So think about why I wanted you to learn what cross sections were. And H equals vertical height. So the vertical height is up here in this pyramid. That's important because the other kind of height, slant height, is in our other formula. So surface area is the area of the base plus half the perimeter of the base times the slant height. So again, A is area of base, P is the perimeter of the base, and L, it's like a cursive L, is the slant height. And that's this one that goes up the side of the pyramid. So it's just a matter of plugging the numbers into the formula, but grabbing the correct numbers from what we have to do. So volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. A is 18 times 5, that's this base right here, which is 90. So make sure that says third, 1/3, not 1/2. 1/3 of the area of the base, which is 90, times the vertical height. Here's our vertical height, which is 11. So we get 330 cubic inches for our volume. For the surface area of a pyramid, I need to identify A, P, and L. So area, if we're using this, because it only labels one side, we're supposed to understand that that's a square. So that's 6.7 times 6.7, which is 44.89. Let me erase that and try again. That's 44.89. The perimeter is 6.7 plus 6.7 plus 6.7 plus 6.7, which is 26.8. And our slant height is this height of the triangle on the side, and that is 10.1. So now I can just plug it all into the formula. So surface area equals the area, which is 44.89. That was area plus 1/2 the perimeter times the slant height, plus half of 26.8 times 10.1. And that gives us a grand total of 180.23 feet squared. So it's just about plugging everything into the formula and being able to identify the variables that go into your formula. All right, so now we've got a cone. And sometimes a cone takes a little bit more work. So we start with the definition of a cone: three-dimensional solid object with a circular, flat-based, joined to a curved side that ends in an apex point. So this point up here is still called the apex. Volume of a cone, standard formula, 1/3 AH. You'll notice that's the same as the formula for a pyramid, where A is the area of the base and H is the vertical height. Again, notice which one that is so that we don't get confused, because we're going to use the slant height for the other formula. So surface area. Surface area is the area of the base plus pi r L, where A is the base area of the base, R is the radius of the base, and L is the slant height, which is this one number on the outside. So as we do this, our first step will be to decide what we're looking for. So I'm looking for volume and surface area of both of these next two examples. So I'm going to identify things. This is R and this is H. I need A and I need L. So A is pi r squared. That's pi times 2.5 yards, which is 1963. But the slant height is this number over here, and it's a little harder to get to. So I have to recognize that I have a right triangle with 12.3 as one leg and 2.5 as the other leg. That means that L squared equals 12.3 squared plus 2.5 squared, because I'm looking for the hypotenuse. That means L squared equals 157.54, so that when I take the square root of both sides, L is 12.55. So now I have the area and I have the slant height, so I can find everything else, because here's my H and my L and my R for the formulas. So for volume, that's 1/3 the area of the base times the vertical height. 1/3, 19.63 times 12.3 equals 80.48 yards cubed. To find surface area, plugging it into that formula above, that's the area of the base plus pi times the radius times the slant height. The area of the base, we know that up here, that's 19.63 plus pi times my radius is 2.5 and my slant height is 1255. So that gives me a surface area of 118.20 yards squared. So you can see that there was a little bit of before work to be able to solve this. We're going to have to go through the same process for this next example. So this is my H. Here's where R and L is. I'm given the diameter. The diameter is 12.4. That means my radius is 6.2. To find the slant height, L squared equals 15 squared plus 6.2 squared. We're just using the Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse of our right triangle. So that L squared equals 263.44. Take the square root of both sides, and we get that L is 16.23. The area of the base, pi r squared, pi 6.2 squared, is 120.76. So now I have R, L, A, and there's my H. I have all the variables I need to be able to solve either part of this problem. So we'll start with volume. 1/3 the area of the base times the height. 1/3, please use your fraction keys, it's so much easier. 120.76 times 15. That is 603.81 yards cubed. To find the surface area for that same cone, that's the area plus pi times the radius times the slant height. Our area is 120.76 plus pi times our radius was 6.2 and our slant height is 16.23. That gives us a surface area of 436.89 yards squared. So once you learn how to use the formulas, then it's just a matter of doing this extra piece right here to find the slant height so that you can solve it on your assignment today. See you next time.